Hi, guys. It's Beth here from Aging Care Solutions, offering experience guidance for caregivers and seniors traveling the care continuum. Um, as you know, I've been a senior care advisor for more than 20 years, and a good chunk of my career was in private duty nursing. I also worked for an elder law attorney, uh, and I've been in home health services, which is covered by health insurance. So I got to cover a lot of different areas that were very impactful on what I needed to do, which was take care of family members. But I was also a good resource for families, getting referred from social workers, case managers, assisted living owners, and really families being vetted by families to determine whether or not the services that we offered, that I offered, were going to meet the needs of what their dad, mom, sister, whoever was needing care, if it was going to meet their needs. So, the one thing that I noted, my last video was about caregiver burnout. And I will tell you that for the better part of a decade, I not only was I working in private nursing, I was also living the reality of having a mother and a grandmother who lived remotely. So I managed them remotely for a couple of years until it was pretty clear that my mother had the beginning stages of dementia. And it was not until my grandmother passed that that was my window. That was my window to be able to move her. It was a gift because I don't know how much longer she would have been able to live at home safely. She was still driving at times, but clearly she was starting to stay home more and more, getting more confused when she was out. So the liability of that became a real concern of mine. I just couldn't imagine if she were to ever get lost and get hurt or hurt another family if she was driving. So anyway, it all rolled out where I was able to help get her closer to where I lived, and she lived with me for a year while we looked at and found the right place for her to live. And that was really just the beginning of more of my hands-on caregiving, feeding and caring for her and reminding her of things and noticing that she had been declining, and I did not realize because every time I spoke with her by phone, everything was fine. Hi, honey, everything's fine. Well, it really wasn't, and the 10 days that I was looking for my grandmother to come out of her surgery and come back and wake up, and she did not. That is when I really got to see that the day to day that my mother was really struggling. So it started out where I've always had a lot of energy. I've always been able to, maintain. And, but when she moved in and I realized, wow, this is like me really being concerned and knowing that I don't know that I'm going to be able to watch, look after her safely. She would go out for a walk and get lost, and my neighbor would bring her back. Or I just started realizing, you know what, she can't be left alone. This is just, and from there, I realized she's going to want to be around other people. She had such a great personality. She wanted to be more active. So assisted living was going to be my best choice because at that time, when she first moved here in 2010, my kids were 2 years old. I had a boy and a girl, and I have a boy and a girl. And, they were just toddlers. And to me, it was like I needed to kind of be able to juggle everything. So we spent our weekends looking and we found the right place. And over time, I needed to understand that my health was being impacted and how over the years, caregiver burnout became a very defined thing for me. My sleep was impacted, my energy level. And so some of the things that I used to do was I would just walk. I would take walks and it would help me just calm down. It made me really feel like, you know what? You don't have to be there today. You don't need to go today. If it's you can call and talk to the nursing station and check on her, and if you've got the energy or your schedule permits tomorrow, then go tomorrow. So, a lot of people are, you know, pushing themselves further into, I mean, impacting their own health. And it's very prevalent when you see couples where the wife, who's 80 years old, is taking care of the husband, who's 82. And it's not uncommon for for the caregiver, the wife, to fall ill, you know, get a bad cold that turns into pneumonia or bronchitis, or just become exhausted and unable to lift and transfer, help that person shower, take care of all their personal needs. So you really do have to be mindful of things that you can do that are going to help you stay well during your time as a caregiver, especially if you're hands on. If you're doing it remotely, you're going to have to really think and consider hiring outside help. It could be that you've got maybe a network of neighbors or friends or family members that can stop by and visit. Otherwise, maybe hiring a companion or a caregiver on a regular schedule would be something that you could do. You could stagger your visits so that you're not feeling compelled that you have to be there on a daily basis, or even every single week. The other thing is to delegate. If you do have family members, it that's a double-edged sword, because then you got a lot more people making decisions. But certainly, if you can say, "Hey, do you mind going and visiting Dad this week, or going by the house and getting the trash out?" And so there's just ways. It does take a village. It definitely does. So I feel like I wish that I had taken my own advice that I know now. I wish I had known some of these things, quite frankly, because I think it would have really helped keep me well, and focusing on my sleep and making sure that I was, getting enough time with my family, but also making sure that she was in great hands. I felt so good about the place that she lived, that it was such a relief to me to know that she loved where she was, that she was making friends, and that they were keeping her busy. And I would go up, and it was like a nice visit. I mean, we would sometimes have church service, and then we'd take a walk, or I'd take her out for a bite to eat. So it was just so much easier. It was so much easier to have it be a nice visit. But these are just some of the things, taking care of yourself, focusing on making sure that you're getting enough rest, that you're taking care of your mental health needs, because you can get depressed. It is something that can weigh heavily on your heart, and then you feel bad you didn't go. And to me, it's like, wait a minute. I'm visiting twice a week, and I still feel like it's not enough. So maybe that's just my personality, but certainly, like I had said in the last video, is going easy on yourself, knowing that you're doing the best that you can. And I also had a lot of people, of course, I was in the industry, so I did have a lot of friends who, you know, had experienced the same thing. So it's good to have, like a circle of people. When you get to a certain age, when you get into your 50s and 60s, nobody really tells you that life can get very, very challenging. A lot of us become empty nesters. A lot of people divorce during that age group. And then they realize, wow, mom and dad, or, whoever's left needs care. And you're taking care of someone who was a huge part of your life that is now really dependent on you, or, you're almost switching places with them. You are becoming your parent's parent. So it can be a very stressful time. So really doing self-care is really important. So, having fun on the weekends and not feeling that, it's so needed. It is so needed. For me, it was just, if I could go to the gym, and then, or even if I could go and get a massage, I was so thrilled that I was like, yay, I had, an hour to myself. Anyway, if you like content like this, if you would like to hear about other topics that maybe you're facing, because you're going to run into different scenarios. It's going to be, it's going to be different for everybody. But knowing that I had to move my parent, I always tell people, well, I kidnapped my mother because she needed it. She needed to be safe. She needed to have somebody that could look after her and help her find the right place to live. And that's what it involved, is, getting her settled and moving her from the only home one of the only places. She went from her parents' house to her and my dad building their life in their home. So I know that there are a lot of challenges out there for all of us, especially caregiving. And I wish you all the very best. I know that there's times when people are just like, I don't know if I could take it, but there are support groups out there. So seek them out. Find people, like-minded people who you can build friendships with, and have an outlet to engage and socialize with. And please feel free to like and subscribe so that I can grow this channel, share as much information and industry and personal knowledge that I've gained over the past 20 years. And I look forward to seeing you at the next video. Take care.